So yeah, what was it like playing for Leicester?
Oh, Leicester.
Leicester,
Yeah.
Leicester.
And
Sorry,
it's
I don't
oh,
have that England background, so I
no,
have
no,
trouble spelling it. I have trouble saying it.
no, it's fine. No, I loved it. It was my first big move. So doing as well as I did for Tranmere at such a young age, when the opportunity came to go to Leicester, they literally, I think they'd just been down from the Premier League a year before. So I came at a time where it was they were clearing the decks. They were trying to get people off the pay structure and the wage bill and trying to generate money. So I was a cheaper option, I'll be honest, than what they had. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a rough first 4 or 5 months. I wasn't really in the team. I was in and out. I was on the bench. And I was just learning. And I was still 19, so I was like, yeah, you know what? Or I don't know, 19 or 20. I'm like, that's fine. Like, let me learn my way. And that was fine. And then the manager got fired. So we brought in a new coach, or caretaker manager, or interim, as you call it over here. Brought him in, and he put me straight in the team. And we were fighting relegation, and I finished the season really well. Me and my strike partner at the time, Matty Fryatt, both of us finished the season so well. And I think we finished with like 16 goals between us, and I think he had 7, I had 9, or something like that. And it was just a good finish to the season, and then got me a new contract, and I ended up staying on a bit longer. And the 3 seasons there, I was joint top scorer the next 2 years, and player of the season on my second season, and just thoroughly enjoyed it. And then I had a bit of a contractual blip and misunderstanding with the club when we got relegated. So if that didn't come up, I would have stayed at them, and who knows how long I'd have been there. But a contractual discrepancy from what the club had to what I had in my contract came up, and I couldn't financially afford to stay. So unfortunately, I had to go and went to Barnsley. But Leicester they've been in the new stadium. It's now the King Power, but it was the Walker Stadium. I was there. They'd been in that for like 5 years, and 25,000 every week, and all blue, and just loved it. And I had a great rapport with the fans and great relationship with them and the club. And it was just one of those things. Unfortunately, everything comes to an end at some point. And if I could have stayed there, I think I would have, because that's the one place where I've played and I felt at home. Like Tranmere, I came through and loved it there. But the one place where I've actually felt like this is the club for me, this is the club where I never had any bad feeling towards them, never had any bad feeling at one point towards somebody at the club. It was just that type of club where I just really, really enjoyed the 3 years I was there, and I wish I really could have stayed and helped grow my, not legacy, but the way that the fans would remember me, because they remember me, and it got relegated, unfortunately. But I still have a good rapport with them now, and it's great club. And for them to go on and win the Premier League a couple of years later, incredible. And just
Yeah.
you have an element of pride, because even regardless whether you were there or a part of it or not, it's somewhere that you know what it meant to them.
Right.
To see that was just insane.
Yeah, and so is like Leicester your club in the English Premier League now? Yeah, I thought you were a Liverpool fan, but I just wasn't.
I'm a massive Liverpool fan.
Yeah, I knew you. Yeah, like you had the jerseys and you like Liverpool, but then you talk so fondly about Leicester, and I was like, could he be a Leicester fan as well?
I'll always want, like, when they won the Premier League, I was over the moon. Winning the FA Cup this year, I was over the moon. And to have I have an affiliation with them. So for me, Leicester are always going to be somebody I support. Always. Doesn't matter if they're, as long as they don't beat Liverpool, then I'll support them in every game, just because I have that relationship with the club. Liverpool's my team. I'm not away from that. We had the worst season ever this year. Still finished third place. So we had so many critics coming out and hammering us this season, saying, "Oh, terrible, not good enough. What's going on?" But finished third place. Man United had their best season in 9 years and finished 5 points ahead of us. So put that into consideration. Players we were missing this year, I'm looking forward to next year. Hopefully they're all back fighting fit. We get to push City for that title again.
Yeah, it's always the Premier League is always so fun to watch because there are actually quite a couple teams that can actually challenge for that first spot.
Yeah, just a couple. Man City and Liverpool.
Yeah.
Forget the rest of them. Hey. Nah, you've got Chelsea won the Champions League this year, spend a lot of money. Man City spend a lot of money. Man United are planning on spending a lot of money, so they're going to be there and thereabouts. Leicester's a strong team now. Arsenal, Tottenham. You've probably got 7, 8, 9 teams who can fight for those European spots. West Ham had an incredible season last year. So it is okay. You may have a couple teams around the world that are on par, but it's definitely the most exciting league in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with also teams with so many teams that are competing for like the Europa League, even if they're not competing for the Champions League, that's really exciting too. Like Arsenal, Wolves.
Arsenal fans will hate that you said that. They're competing for the Europa League. They've been Champions League almost every year the last 15 years, apart from the last 2. And all of a sudden, they're a Europa League team. I've got a lot of Arsenal fans that are friends, so it's great to see them dropping off a little bit since Mr. Wenger left them.
Well, they're still a great club. They just kind of need a rebuilding. A couple of years, like Manchester United, they went back down. Now they're back up again. They just need Arsenal just need a couple of years to rebuild.
What team do you support?
Wolves.
Wolves? Nice. Mm-hmm. I like that. You're gonna get yourself a Theo Corbianu jersey.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's an amazing player. And when I realized that a Wolves player was actually playing for the Canadian national team as well, I was like, oh my gosh, he is like. Amazing.
Good club. I like playing Wolves. I like playing in Molyneux. Here's a little story for you. You probably wouldn't have seen it. When I was at Leicester, we were playing on Sky against Wolves. Mm-hmm. And I'd started the game in a pair of rubbers, in a pair of moldies. And they'd watered the field before the game. So one of our guys got taken down and on the edge of the box, and as he's done that, so I had personalized boots, so I had my name and number on the tongues of my boots, and I took off my boots while the guy was down injured and put on my studs because they'd obviously watered the ground and I don't like slipping, so I'd taken them off, and it's live on Sky Television. So I've gone and put my boots on the side of the field, and we'd had the free kick, and I scored the free kick, and it was all over the highlight reels and all that, because they literally just before I shot, they zoomed in on my boots that were on the side of the field, and then zoomed back over to me, and I was hitting the free kick, and I put it in the top corner. So that was kind of, just so you know, I've scored at Molyneux. So that's a little bit of a story there, but yeah, I love playing there. It's a massive stadium and a massive field, and tough to play against when you get the fans and you get the fans on your back, and you'll have to. Have you been to the stadium before?
No, I haven't. I want to go, but
Hi Ho Wolverhampton, when they sing it before a game, it's chilling. It's tough to when every fan in the stadium sings it, and it's something that you'll have to witness.
Yeah, I really want to go to that stadium, and I also love how I also love Wolves. My middle name is actually Lowell, which means the Wolf Club. So when I realized that, I kind of really like Wolves in general. And I love how the club is really like a pack, like the fans, everything's just. I feel like the fans are just such like a pack, like always cheering for their team, and I really like that. about
100%.
the club.
They're a very steady club. They've been very well run for a long time. It's tough for them to see Espirito Santo go, but I'm sure the new manager will come in and they'll keep the same philosophies. And I hope they stay level, and I hope they stay in the Prem because, I've played there quite a few times, and it is a club that you always look out for. Just because they're just not a big spending club. They're not going to go out and spend crazy amounts of money, but they always play the game the right way. And it's hope you keep hold of Neves and Moutinho, and I'm not sure Patricio's gone yet, but you never know.
Yeah.
Right.
If Patricio goes, we need a new. We're gonna have to look at keepers. I'm not sure about how much depth we have at keepers actually, just because I'm so used to seeing Rui Patricio there. But hopefully Raul Jimenez will be back because he had that injury. So I think that's a big reason why we we fell down the standings, just because he was our top goal scorer, and I think he was still our third top goal scorer at the end of the season, and he got injured in the middle or
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I'm also another team that I'm a big fan of is Spain. So you've actually played in Spain. I think you've also played against one of their youth national teams, I believe. So what was that like?
So first and foremost, the youth national team was insane. Playing against them, Iniesta played. You had Juan Fran, who used to play for Atletico Madrid, the right back. I think majority of their team ended up playing 300, 400, 500 games apiece in La Liga and La Liga 2. But it was incredible. We were underdogs. We went in there. They passed us off the park for the first 20 minutes. Iniesta scored, and then I scored. I scored a worldie, which was incredible. And to do it on a world stage was an incredible feeling. And this is before Iniesta was Iniesta. So we didn't know who he was. We heard he was a good player, but we didn't know who he was. He broke through at the end of that year. And all of a sudden, the guy becomes arguably one of the best midfielders of all time. So to have my name on a score sheet right next to his, you got Hume and Iniesta, it's kind of surreal when you think about it now. But we did our country so proud that tournament. Still the most successful Canadian team at a world tournament, men's team, sorry, at a world tournament. So, that was incredible doing that. To go and play in Spain, I played in the second and third divisions there, and I look back at it, and that came off my relationship with Atletico Madrid and Atletico de Calcutta in India. So they helped me out with that. They got me out there. I wish I'd done it 5 years earlier. I did quite well with how I play. I think if I'd done it at a younger age, I'd have adapted a lot more. But again, I got the chance to play 2 half seasons in Spain, and the second one I was out. The first one was a tough one because they chopped and changed coaches, and I was kind of in, out, never really got a chance to play much.
Right.
Second team I went to, Extremadura. I really enjoyed it there. It was a good little village, a little town down by Seville. I got hurt, so I signed in the end of January or middle of January, and I came on sub in a couple games, and then I got hurt. I rolled my ankle, so I was out for 2 weeks, and I just worked on getting fit and whatever after that. And when I did, I came in and I was involved in almost every game towards the end of the season, and I ultimately only scored 1 goal, but it ended up being the goal that secured ourselves from getting relegated.
Wow. Okay.
So it was a massive goal, and funny enough, it was a header. But yeah, I just really enjoyed it out there, and it was just a good little town. And I played against a couple of the players in India. So we had a goalkeeper and a midfielder who played in India as well the same season with me, and they spoke English, so they helped me adapt to the Spanish way of life and the Spanish way of obviously training and playing and all that, and just enjoyed it. And it was, like I said, I wish it happened 5 years earlier, and it wasn't a financially driven movement to go out there. It was just I was fed up with the politics of UK football. I was fighting to get a trial and fighting. I played 520 odd games, 30 odd games, and I'm fighting to get a trial or a 6-month contract, and I just didn't want that anymore. So I thought, coming towards the end of my career, the later stages of my career, go and play something where I'm going to enjoy it, and play somewhere that is going to be a bit more of an adventure, and just enjoy it. And financial reasoning was out the window because I didn't really look at it that way, and I just wanted to have fun again.
Okay, and was you mentioned you had to adapt, but was it a really big adaptation to how you were used to playing? And how long did it take you to fully adapt to like the way of life, but also playing their way? Like, because the league must have like had to change your style a little bit, or a bit.
I've always been relatively technical, as far as like my first touch and my movements off the ball, and just because I'm not as fast as people doesn't make it much of doesn't have much of an effect in Spain. They have some quick players, but a lot of it's technical football, and I'm fortunate that I'd worked on that a lot in the later stages of my career. Once I knew my natural pace was going down a bit, I worked. It's the truth. I worked so much harder on my technical side of my game.
Right.
So I made sure my first touch was better. I made sure my reading of the game was a lot better, and I was a lot more switched on. And I did well out there as far as the way of playing went. Some of them didn't like my physicality, but that was their problem, not mine. The problem was the language barrier for a lot of it, but I worked on it. I worked on footballing terms and understanding footballing terms and putting together a puzzle. So I'd sit there and listen, and if they'd slowly or talk a little bit slower, I'd pick up a couple of the words that they were saying, and then I'd understand. I'd kind of put a puzzle together and understand what the sentence was roughly. But it was. I understood a lot more than I could speak. I'll be honest with you. I still can't string sentences together, but I understand the basics and I understand things that I needed. And the way of life was just so laid back. It's incredible. You going into training you start training at 10 o'clock or 10:30. So you get in for maybe 9:30, 9:45. You're training, you're finished by 12 o'clock, 12:15. You go home. So I always had this way. I'd go home past the supermercado, so the supermarket. I'd pick up a bit of food for lunch and dinner, go home, have a quick lunch, and then have a sleep. That was your siesta. So it is, and when people joke around saying, "Oh, I'm gonna have a siesta," it's not. It's a way of life. Everywhere there shuts down for 2 hours, an hour and a half. So it's literally like your shopping malls, apart from your supermarkets, your stores, shut for an hour and a half, 2 hours. So people can go run home, have lunch, and have a sleep, even if it's just half an hour. Even if it's just half an hour, but then they'll come back. They'll be back in the store by 2:30, 3 o'clock, and then they're open till 9 o'clock. So it's incorporated into their way of life, and I loved it. And it was just a way of just living. It was enjoying my football, going home, enjoying time out, go for meal. The crazy thing and the worst thing for it was they'd have dinner at 9 o'clock. And it's I'm not sleeping till easily 1 o'clock now if I'm eating at 9, but it was just a way of life. So you meet up with some of your teammates, because the town was so small, you meet up with some of your teammates, go for a meal, and then you're back home and repeat the next day. It's kind of cool. It's kind of, like I said, I wish it happened 5, 6 years earlier, and I would have moved out there with the family, and I think it would have been incredible.
Well, yeah, that sounds pretty crazy. So with the language, I mean, that was obviously a challenge. do you recommend that young players that want to go pro, let's say in Canada, should they start learning a language now?
It could never hurt. I can't say, because you never know. You might go to England and play 20 years. But that's exactly it.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate where I played my whole career, or 95% of my career, in English-speaking countries.
Right.
So it happens differently for different people. It is genuinely horses for courses. And if you think you're going to be nomadic and go around, then learning different languages can never hurt you. Especially your Spanishes and French, because you have so many countries around the world that speak French, so many countries around the world that speak Spanish. So even if it's your Spanish language, you speak that, you can go to Italy and understand, you can go to Portugal and understand for the most part. So you have that base. So I'd never say don't do it. Obviously, I can't advise people to just go out and learn languages for the sake of it, but it never hurt. I think you never know where there's going to be a Spanish coach. Doesn't matter what country you're in. You never know where there's going to be a Spanish coach or a foreign coach. So if you can bridge that gap and take down that barrier before even starting, I think it's an incredible attribute to have in your makeup. And I wish I'd done it when I was younger. Understand tiny bits of French because I did school in French, or French in school, sorry. But that was 22 years ago. So it's kind of it's a great attribute to have, and I'd advise, if you've got plenty of time and you have that aim of being a professional footballer, and you think that language, depending on what you choose, German, French, Spanish, Italian, whatever you think, why not? Just learn the basics and learn things that can get you by, because that bridges the gap with so many people. And it honestly, if you go to a country and attempt to speak their language, the respect they give you for even attempting, I think it's monumental, and I think it could help in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to learn Spanish because I really like the language, and I personally would love to play in Spain when I grow up, because when I grew up, like you said, there are lots of different leagues to watch. A lot of people watch the Premier League more, but I often watched more of the Spanish league. I watched the Wolves, but I watched a lot of the Spanish league, and I really enjoyed watching like the three big teams. I know that you're supposed to choose one, but I just like watching them all with different, because they all have slightly different styles of play and all great players.
Why are you supposed to choose one?
Yeah, I can't choose one because I like them all. Because
you don't have to choose one. I'm a Barca fan, but see, you don't have to choose one. You don't. See, I'm a Barca fan because I'm a massive Messi fan. Loved Ronaldinho, loved Rivaldo, loved the Ronaldo. Mm-hmm. Loved Overmars, loved when they had the Dutch connection through Johan Cruyff. That was my choice, so I had a reasoning for choosing. But there's no reason, and don't think about that as you have to choose a team. You follow the game, and if you're a fan of the game, you watch anywhere. That's something that you have to take pride in, is the fact that you're just watching the game for the sake of watching the game, and not having any affiliation to anybody and thinking, oh, come on, Madrid, I hope you guys kill these. Why? If you're not a fan, if you don't see yourself as a fan of that club, you're a fan of the game. And Stephen Hart would have told you the same thing. Stephen Hart is a massive fan of the game. And that's something. He is your ultimate soccer geek. He is, and this is something like I sat down and spoke to him quite a few times when he was manager of the national team, when he was assistant, and that. He just brings up random facts about different things and games from 50 years ago. He could tell you who scored when, where, what stadium, what club he was at the time. Like, the guy, that's something that I've picked up off him. But he just loves the game. So that's something for yourself. Don't ever say to yourself, oh, I have to support a team if you don't want to. Oh, you should pick one. No, you support the game. The game that's the biggest draw for anybody, is the game. And that's something that I see. That's why I watch so much of it. I have certain teams which I do support, but that's by choice, not because I felt like I needed to. I just love the game. I love watching. I love learning all the time.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to retire from a game you've spent so much time playing? And obviously, like I play at a very low level, like just in a men's league. But one thing that I love about it is the concept of flow. When you're in the game, you're not thinking about anything else. You're not thinking about problems that you may have or whatever. You're just present, and your kind of concentration is amped up to the max. You're just kind of focused, and it just goes by like that. So what's that like when you retire?
I haven't played a game in over 2 years and still haven't retired. Does that tell you anything? It's hard. It's the the hardest thing in the world. Hence the reason why I haven't announced it officially. Is I'm still in my head. I'm not retired. So if I don't retire, I'm not retired. I got retired by the national team, like we spoke about before. So I never retired from the national team. And yeah, I had my head set on coming to the CPL. I wanted to play back at home to finish my career off. I'm 10 appearances short of 600. So I wanted to see my career out, break the 600 mark, and play back home. That never materialized. 2 seasons gone, still never materialized. I know there's no takers anymore. I know that. I know I'm retired, essentially. And I'm going to tiptoe around it. I know I'm retired, essentially, but I haven't announced it. So whilst it's in my head, I'm not retired. Mm-hmm. And it's the hardest thing in the world because I've dedicated, 80% of my life, 85% of my life to playing soccer. So it's, like you said, it's you switch off from everything else. It's kept me away from so many thoughts of what's next, so many thoughts of where do I go from here, what's going on away from soccer, what's going on with the family. It's taken me away, and it is my getaway. Hence the reason why I've gone straight into coaching, hence the reason why I'm still playing, is it's my getaway. You have people you hear like to go for a bike ride, like to go read a book, not me, I need to play. I need to do something involved with the game, and whether it's writing out a session plan, whether it's writing down the logging of the session from the night before, just to make sure I've got it on file, what I've done, just anything to keep me in the game, because it's all I've ever known. I have no qualifications. It's, like I said before, to my detriment, I never went back to school, so I have no qualifications to do anything but soccer. All I've ever known is soccer. So if I keep telling myself in my head I'm not retired, I'm not. And it keeps my mind focused on what could be. It probably won't be, but it's the hardest decision I've ever made and ever had to not make. You know what I mean? Because I know the decision's made already, and I know the decision and the answer to that question is there. But as long as I refuse to say it and refuse to announce it, then it's not happened. So I'm gonna drag it out. I actually was going to announce it a couple months ago, but in the 2 times that I'd actually sat down and wrote something out to announce, Marcel de Jong and David Edgar both retired. So I'm like, I can't do it now. Like I'm not gonna on this. And it's one of those things. I'm avoiding it. It's the hardest decision I've ever made in my life, ever going to make in my life, because it's been my life for everything. So I'm holding off on that.
Well, you're still involved in it in coaching, right? What's tell us about what you have going on with coaching.
Well, I had an opportunity beforehand to possibly come back to work in the CPL with a coach, which I won't mention, but I wasn't ready for it. flat out said, I'm not ready. I haven't learned the game yet. I've played the game for a long, long time. I know a lot about the game, but I've not learned how to be a coach. So I didn't see right to take that job off the experience I have on the field. So I want to wait until I'm ready and then dive into that. Right now, I'm the head coach of the men's team in Woodstock, Ontario. I'm player coach. Well, I'm coach at the moment. I've got a bit of a niggly Achilles, so I'm just a coach at the minute. I will be playing once I'm back fit. I've also started fitness and football training company with my brother. So it's Iain Hume Limitless Coaching. Or Limitless it's Iain Hume Limitless Football and Fitness Coaching. So we do dryland training, we do fitness training for players out of season, teams in the season, players who just want a little bit of extra work on top of the work they do with their clubs. And then obviously teams, football training, we're starting up doing striker camps, and we're going to be doing different camps throughout the summer. So we just need this COVID to disappear so we can actually do things. It's kind of well, I moved over here from the UK with my family on a job opportunity. So I was going to be technical director over here, and then COVID. So we'd agreed to move. We put our house up for sale, and then all of a sudden the job was redundant. So I've already not one round the family, knocked them out and forced them into it, but about coming over to Canada. So we'd already decided that was happening. I had a job set up and everything like that, and then all of a sudden it becomes redundant. So I had to start from scratch. Hence the reason why I'm doing the one soccer. I'm doing my coaching. Started this business with my brother. So trying to get there, slowly but surely. I need to get hours on the field for my coaching. I need to do that anyways to learn the game a bit more. And then I'll be looking to do my other coaching badges. So I've got my Canada and UEFA B license. I'll be looking to do my A. I'm eventually going to try and do my A on both sides of the ocean. So I can do my UEFA and my Canadian A. Just to have those things marked off so that I know if there's any question marks about my qualifications, then I can just, well, which one do you want? So, there has been questions. Funny enough, there has been questions.
Sure.
Becoming a technical director here, my UEFA B license wasn't adequate. I needed my Canadian one, which I think is ludicrous. But I know one of the guys who's involved with Canadian coaching, and we worked on it, and we obviously with my time in the game, what I've done and what I've achieved as a player, and then what I've done as a coach in the UEFA coaching courses, we sorted something out. So my Canadian one, I had a little bit of work and we got that sorted. So yeah, I'm trying to develop and trying to learn and try to add a few strings to my bow just to make sure that I have the qualifications I'm after. And I think that'll be in the next couple of years. I'll have those. And then we go from there and see how far it takes me.
Okay, that should be a fun project to work towards in the next couple of years.
Here's hoping.
So Iain, you had there's an incident where you had your skull fractured in a game in the championship. It was like a hard elbow by a guy called Chris Morgan, right? Now, I read that Chris Morgan had a record for the most red cards, I think, on that team or something like that. So was it malicious? And what do you think about the physicality in the championship when you were playing?
Well, you were allowed to actually tackle and everything back then, so the game was a lot more physical. I'd had a couple games against Chris Morgan before. I'd played against him when he was at Barnsley, and then he moved to Sheffield United and all that. It is what it is. He's gone to hit me. He's gone to catch me. He's not done, and I'd like to think, and I've said this in a couple interviews before, I'd like to put my life on it that he hasn't meant to do it to the extent he did. but he meant to leave a mark. It was that type of game. It was a local rivalry. Barnsley against Sheffield United is a big rivalry for the locals. So, yeah, it was a tough game to start with, and I'd been kicked from pillar to post for the first 25 minutes. And then this happened in I think it was the 32nd minute or 31st minute. He just caught me. Looked over his shoulder, seen me coming, swung his elbow, caught me in the side of the head. It wasn't easy. I got told I had concussion. I didn't go to hospital. They sent me home. So I went home. Next day I was slurring my words and hadn't eaten, hadn't drank anything, and just wasn't myself. So ended up going to hospital and getting scanned. And, I got triage first in the emergency department, so they'd looked at it, and they'd said severe concussion. Just be careful, blah, blah, blah. Same thing, discharged me. So as we were leaving, I threw up everywhere. And they panicked, rushed me in for a CT scan. Seen the whole left side of my brain was bleeding. So right down there was all bleeding. And it was panic stations then. Rushed me there was a hospital 20 minutes away, which was, it had a neuro center, which is one of the best in the UK. So they rushed me in there. They had surgeons there on call waiting for me. Rushed in. It's 4 or 5 hour surgery. And then I was out. I was in hospital for a week. Lovely scar to stick with me for life. Tell certain people it's a shark bite, they believe you. But it is what it is. It was horrible. It was something that was not seen often. So people are obviously unsure about the recovery times, unsure about whether I would recover. I was asked if I wanted to wear one of those skull caps, the Petr Cech ones.
Right.
And as soon as that was put into my head, it was like, no, not happening. It's not me. Like, if I have to put a helmet on to play soccer, I may as well finish. And I recovered pretty quickly. I was back running a month later with the physio, just jogging, and then I was back. So that happened in November. So it happened November 8th. I had my operation on November 10th, I believe. And then I was out running just after Christmas. And then by end of middle of January, I was back over with the club 2-3 times a week, just training, doing fitness work and get myself fit. And I was back as fit as I possibly could be by probably end of March. Full training with the guys, 100% everything. Just red tape, insurance. I wasn't able to play, and I had to wait till the next season, which killed me. I had to 8 months out without games, and it was a slow process. But again, it was to overcome that. As soon as I was given the you can play again, but it was like, yeah, okay. As soon as they told me you can play, then that was it. That was the head was down, the focus was on. I had my blinkers put on, and I knew I was back, and it's just a matter of getting there and doing the work, and did that. And the physio at Barnsley was incredible. The physios at Barnsley were incredible with me. They got me fully fit and back, all guns blazing by the end of the season, which was great.
Yeah, well, it's fantastic that you recovered so great. And yeah, I was actually going to ask you if you was considered wearing a helmet, but you had already answered that. But I was going to ask you, did you feel like it was harder to get back to full fitness? Was that hard to get back to full fitness than if you just had if you just rolled your ankle or something like that, like a injury of that sort? Was it
It's a
harder?
lot harder than rolling my ankle. It was just time consuming. It was tedious. Having to wait for scar or the swelling to go down, having to wait for stitches and scabbing to go, and then obviously, good thing is I'm not a good looking dude. So if I was a model and this happened, then you'd be like, oh my god, what's going? Me, I'm not an oil painting. So I'm not one of those who's gonna look at it and go, oh no. I've got, on top of that, I had 42 staples there. On top of that, since then, I've probably had another 60 odd, 70 odd staples and stitches put in my head and my face. So my head is there for the take. It's there for the beating. So because I'm so small, we go back to me winning headers and all that. The amount of times I've won headers and come out with big holes in my head, and it is what it is, and that's something I signed up for. Recovering from a rolled ankle is a couple months at most. The hardest thing of my career was recovering from my ACL. So I did my ACL when I was 35. That was hard. That you can't cut corners, you can't hurry things up. Everything has to be to the T. So you have to literally do your rehab to the letter, which that killed me because I like proving people wrong, and I like excelling in things when I'm recovering with my head. I loved showing people and proving people wrong that, oh, it's going to take you a year and a half. No, it's not. It's going to take me a couple months, so it got me a couple months. With my knee, that was just so hard, and having to have the operation and recovering and then slowly going through the rehab because you can't risk it, otherwise you stretch the ligament, you have to go back to square one and get the operation done again. So yeah, as far as that, recovery from my head was long in some people's minds, but it wasn't as long once I got going. The knee was the hardest part of my career.
Because I actually, it's not, I didn't pull my, do anything to my ACL, but I fractured, my patella, so a piece of the kneecap, bone came off, and that was the hardest, that's been probably, the hardest part of, my rehab, too, because I have pulled my hamstring, I've had a concussion, but it was my knee that was the hardest, so I can definitely understand why, the knee would be the hardest, and yeah, with, you saying, you really don't want to overdo the knee, I still put tape on it, now, even though it happened a couple years ago. But yeah, knees can be very tricky.
Mm-hmm. I've had patella tendonitis for I'm 37 now. First time I had patella tendonitis, I was 12.
Okay.
And I've still got it. It's one of those. It's not nice. Obviously, never fractured my patella, so you've been through the wars already at such a young age. Concussion at such a young age. Yes, you have been through the wars. Yeah. Hey, it is. The thing is, love of the game overrules all, unfortunately. Your love of the game overrules your head, your common sense, your everything. And trust me, I can vouch for that quite a few times. I took one here where I've won a header, and the defender's come out, I've won the header, and he's come through me because he thought he was going to win the header for nothing. And my head just went like that, and I had 14 staples. 14 staples put in. Stitches, sorry. 14 stitches put in, but I'm very, very, and this is bad, don't take this don't think this is me telling you how to do things. So I was severely concussed, but I'd gone into the physio, got the stitches put in, went back into the change room, and the coach wanted me to play. Oh, he's asking, oh, you'll be fine. And I literally played the second half, and I don't remember one thing about it. Obviously, concussion protocols have changed a lot since then. And the thing is, I was very, very stubborn. We had a Christmas party planned in Dublin, so I didn't want to miss it. So I was like, yeah, I'm fine, I'll play the game, and I was literally completely like that. And I don't remember the second half.
Wow.
And was a great party. So went over to Dublin and had that. But yeah, I've been concussed quite a few times, and it's no joke. It shouldn't be taken lightly. I learned that as I got older. I obviously quite a few knocks to the head, but I've had quite a few concussions, which I've learned, unfortunately, how to mask them a little bit, to my detriment. Not to the advice that should be given out to young players, but yeah. So to go through the wars at such a young age, look after your body and listen to it. Don't try and be big and bold, because it does come back to get you.
And I was just gonna say that we're going pretty over, so maybe we'll do like just a quick rapid fire, and then we'll let you go.
Okay. No, I told you. I warned you. I warned you. There should have been a waiver you had to sign before you started.
Do you play FIFA?
I do, but not well.
Xbox or PS4?
PS4.
Okay. Your five-a-side dream team?
Ooh, you should have given me a lead up to this. Five-a-side dream team. Played with or played against?
Anybody you wanted.
Oh,
really.
Okay. So dream team played. I'll go with players I've played with.
Played with. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds
Because
good.
then it narrows it down, because I could make a heck of a team for you. So I'll go with played with. I will go with Sheba Hutchinson, Julian de Guzman. Wow. Borja Fernandez. He was my captain at Atletico Madrid. Incredible footballer. He came through at the Galacticos, so he was there with Beckham and Ronaldo and all that. I'm trying to think now. So there's three. Goalkeeper Asmir Begovic.
Okay.
And so I need one more. I think I should put a defender in there, shouldn't I? Otherwise, I'm going to get hammered. A guy that I love, I'll go with Sandesh Jingan. He's a Indian centre back.
Okay.
I just love everything about him. He's just a great guy, great trainer. He's just an incredible dude, and a five-a-side player you want, because he'll kill himself for you.
Nice.
Okay. And if you could have lunch with anyone in the world, who would it be?
Ooh, gotta answer this correctly. I've met Pele, so I don't want to say him. I will go for Ronaldo, the Ronaldo.
Yeah.
A phenomenon. I'll go for him.
Cool. Do you have a pet?
I have a dog. I have a Labrador Retriever, Jake.
Oh, that's so cute. We have a dog who's Stewie. He's a rescue dog, but he's really old now. He's 15 now, so he's really old, but he's so cute. He's a German Shepherd.
Behind you?
Pardon?
Is that him in the background over there behind your dad?
Yeah, that's him on the couch. Yeah,
I
don't know if you can see that.
Before.
Yeah, he likes, that's his couch. He likes to lie down on it and just relax on it.
He owns it.
Do you have a nickname?
Hume.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Hidden talent.
Pretty good at pool and basketball.
Okay.
Deceptively good at basketball, even though I'm old and slow and a lot heavier than I was.
What is something that you learned about yourself this past year?
I'm very impatient. Actually, also I'll add in I'm relatively lazy as well. Pandemic killed me.
Okay. Where is your happy place? I have one guess for this. I wonder if
You
it's
know it. You can answer it for me.
the field, like the soccer field. Okay, got it right.
White line.
What is one superpower you'd like to have?
One superpower?
Mhm.
Whoa. Turn back time.
Okay.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I don't think lots of people have said that before. I think you're the first one.
Turn back time. You know what you've got to change. You know what you've made mistakes. Turn back time would be my superpower.
Okay. Do you cook?
I do.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
Just varieties of chicken, varieties of meat. I quite like. That's another one that's a happy place. Seriously, it's a weird one. You put me in front of the barbecue or in front of the oven or the stove. Give me something to do, and it's my happy place. And unfortunately, this isn't one that I'll advise. Is beer in hand, and barbecue beer in hand. Most fathers will be able to tell you the same thing. It's just something I enjoy.
Okay. What is your most used emoji?
Oh. Don't know if I can tell you. Generally, just the fist pump.
Okay.
Okay.
I got fed up with the thumbs up. It was just a fist pump sort of thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Where is one place in the world you would like to visit?
I've been to a lot of places. Just to visit?
Yeah.
I would love to go to Rio.
Rio?
Rio de Janeiro. Holiday? I'd love to go to Fiji.
Okay.
But to visit, I'd love to go to Rio and the Carnival, the beaches, the Maracanã, just the whole football samba sort of vibe is something I'd love.
Okay. Are you a morning or a night person?
I'm a night owl. Crazy. And I don't get anywhere near enough sleep.
Yeah, I'm a night owl too. Because I really like the moon and the stars. I think they're just so pretty. I love the full moon. What's your favorite movie or documentary?
Favorite movie? It's based on true facts. True facts. I know that's just the wrong way to say it. It's based on truths. Sporting Rudy. Don't know if you ever watched it.
Rudy? No, I don't think I have.
There you go.
Okay. We'll put it on our list.
Sean Astin is in it. It's based on facts about a football player from Notre Dame. He was a walk-on tackle dummy. So essentially, the moral of the story goes on that he actually played for them, which you watch that, and if you don't get a bit of a tear in your eye and goosebumps at the end of the film, you have no heart. But yeah, I'd say that, and possibly I'm not a massive documentary watcher, because I think a lot of them are very loosely based on the truths, and I don't like some of them because they tiptoe and they find the negatives out of everything for the most part. So I'll say a film, and I'll go Shawshank Redemption.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Are you a good dancer?
Nope.
Okay.
Easiest answer ever.
What are 3 words to define you?
Intense, passionate, daft. I think is the nicest way to put it. Yeah.
Daft?
Yeah, just
Okay.
I'll do things that aren't expected. Or there you go, 3 of I'll make a sentence for you instead. Just put heart on sleeve.
That'll work.
Okay, that works. That's cool. And what are your goals for the future?
Just to help people progress, and I want to continue in the game, obviously. So help people learn, help people progress myself, learn how to be a coach, and just have a part of history. Just try and help improve and try and help people achieve. And I think that's the main aim. And as a parent, as a coach, as whatever, is to help people achieve. And whether it's your own kids or other kids, just help somebody achieve their goals. And if you get that, the satisfaction from that will be more than enough.
Yeah. Well, that was actually my last rapid fire question for you. You made it through. Most people say that this is the hardest part of the show. You seem to do it pretty easily, so good job. And I just want to say thank you again so much for coming on and spending such a long time with us. We really enjoyed talking with you.
I told you. You were hoping for about an hour. I told you that was never going to be the case. No, listen, I love talking about my journey, and when getting asked such questions, it makes it so much easier. And obviously, you've got the knowledge at such a young age about how you want to ask your questions and things you want to learn about people. So it makes it a lot easier. And I thank you guys for having me on. And like I said, watching your bit with Stephen Hart the other week, and I was looking forward to this, because having somebody who's in love with the game as much as I am, at such a young age, it's enjoyable to talk to you about it. And if you can turn that into a decent piece, I'll be happy to hear it. No, thank you very much for having me on, guys. And it is genuinely, I love talking about the game. I love talking about my game. I love talking about anybody's game and just about the game in general. So thank you very much for having me, and hopefully it won't be too long before I speak to you again, because I'll be questioning whether you've been to watch Wolves and been to Molineux and met Corbianu, and we'll see. I'll chase you up in the future.
I can't wait to talk to you again too. And like I said, I really enjoyed talking with you, and it's just so great to connect with people that like love soccer so much and just love the beautiful game.
Yeah, we didn't even really get to talk about formations or anything. So maybe we'll put that on. Maybe we'll put that on for next time.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Hey, I told you, it's a risky business getting into a conversation about football with me. Because I could go on forever, and it's it's the whole point. We talk about a game we love, and if we can do that and we go overtime, I don't care.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I wanted to say just at the end of this interview is I think it's really great, like what you're doing for One Soccer and kind of taking that perspective. I know when Christian Jack stepped down from TSN, he said one of the things is like he wanted to. I kind of got the impression that they wanted him to kind of dumb down the commentary and the explanation and stuff. And so I really appreciate that, people like you are, when you come on and you're talking about it from your experience, so you're passing that kind of perspective that you have and that different way of looking at the game as someone that's actually had the experience to young people that are watching and can potentially, follow in your footsteps and go pro. I think that's really, really great.
Yeah, it's enjoyable. Like that's the thing that gets overlooked sometimes is you have your Christian Jackson, Oliver Platt, who very, very good at what they do. They are very good at analyzing games and breaking down from their aspect of on a piece of paper, can they do this, can they do that, and breaking down. And when they spoke to somebody, had an interview, but that is completely different to how I interpret it, because, and that's no saying one's better than the other. I'm not saying that, but it gives you a different viewpoint, and being able to relate to playing in Honduras and playing in Costa Rica and playing in these Central American countries and playing left wing, right wing, up front against these teams and understanding where they are and knowing who the players are. Like being able to talk about Daniil Henry the other day and being able to talk about Alphonso Davies and guys, Samuel Piet, and guys that I know and they're coming through the system that I've been through, I can relate. And as much as others can relate, as in knowing them, they can't relate to the soccer side of it. So that's where I think it's beneficial having players involved.
Yes.
Guys who played for the national team. Dave Edgar, available. He's around. The guy talks a good game about football, and he knows a lot about football. Myself, Julian de Guzman doing it right now for TSN. Having people like myself and ex-players who are passionate about the country and about the game, and not looking for personal gain. They want to do it because they actually have a care for the program.
Yeah.
Personal pocket filling, which I think I've noticed a lot over the last couple of years have started doing more, and they lose their morals. But I'm enjoying it, to be honest, and I love doing some work about the Canadian program, and obviously hopefully get involved in the CPL as well, and in some capacity, whatever it is. Looking forward to it, and again, if it can help with people gaining a bit of knowledge about that portion of the game, if I can help with that, then that's the aim.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, well, I'm so excited to push this out on social media because I'm so excited for so many people to hear like you talk about soccer and just your knowledge of the game. Because I love hearing you talk on soccer, but I'm always a bit disappointed when you leave because I want to hear you talk more. So I'm super excited that we got to talk for this whole time, and people will get lots of content out of this.
No, but again, thank you very much for having me on, guys, and always a pleasure. So don't be a stranger. You guys can give me a shout whenever if you need anything for it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds great, Ian.
Yeah.
And
enjoy the rest of your day.
Get a chance to come out to Halifax because it's somewhere I'd love to visit. And if I do, I will 100% be hitting you up because I want to meet you.
Yeah, when you do, we'll go get some seafood.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Fill the belly.
Yeah.
Gotta fill the belly.
Yeah.
But,
sounds good to me too. Yeah. Thank you so much again, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, for sure. Keep me posted on everything.
Okay.
Thanks, Ian. Take care.
Bye.
See you.
Take care. See you guys later.
See you.